Welcome back to the Old Colony Cast, a podcast about all things Plymouth and surrounding areas. I'm your host, Andy, joined, as always, by co-host Hannah.
Yeah, but not as always, because we've had a couple random episodes where we're not all together.
That's true.
Yeah.
By most of the time?
Most
time co-host
99 point.
Statistically, the statistical majority of the time. Our statistically co-host, Hannah.
Yeah.
And the other voice is editor unwilling to cut the F-bomb that I dropped right before getting into the opener.
Oh, no.
Fish.
Both willing and doing it.
Oh, I know, but you were going to stop me.
Well, yes, because it's easier.
Not for me.
Not about your ease, Andy.
So, I don't think we have anything to...
I kind of have an update.
Do you have an
guys.
update?
Yeah, because I was going to talk about something that's not like it's not super lengthy.
Okay.
And I have something that I meant to tell you guys about.
Oh?
Very interesting.
They found another pond.
It kind of has to do with a pond, but not really.
Oh, wow.
So...
I'm really good at guessing. They lost a pond.
Yeah, they lost. As we got to, we lost one. No. So this is a kind of a story. I feel like maybe I've mentioned this story before to you guys.
Okay. Can you start with Once Upon a Time?
Once upon a time,
All right.
I was about 15 years old, and I had a friend who lived up on Cherry Street, and she's still my friend.
Okay.
And we used to go to the conservation area that is right across, like you go down this road to the where you see the pond next to the school.
Yeah.
And you keep driving straight to the road right across, and there's a little conservation area.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
It looks like it kind of leads, who knows where, but it leads to a conservation area. And back then, I don't think it was actually like trusted or conserved or anything like that. It was definitely used for... I don't know, recreational things that were not probably allowed.
Just a field that people went to do stuff.
Not even field, just like woods, backwoods stuff. Lots of dirt biking, lots of paintballing, lots of kids just building forts and leaving
woods.
It was random woods.
It was random woods.
Okay. Yes.
Because it also it's surrounded by, it has like a neighborhood on every side, except for one side is like power lines. You can actually get to the highway from there. Like you can see there's a billboard right there, and then it's pretty wild.
Okay.
But anyway.
And Hannah burnt it down.
No. No. But it was the location of, I don't remember if you guys were Route 3 travelers at that time, but there was someone who was shooting into the highway with a BB gun.
I vaguely remember that.
Like about probably 15-ish years ago at this point. Yeah.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
That's like where they had access to the highway.
Okay.
Because they lived in that area.
Is this a confession, Hannah?
No, they caught. I know who the person was, or at least I did at the time. It was someone that I was around my age in school, but So yeah, it was in that vicinity. We used to go hang out there. My friend had a quad. We would ride it around that area. There was also a homeless encampment back there.
Okay.
And in a more like, just away from like the beaten path.
Yeah.
And we used to be like very, what we thought was daring and like walking near or close to. And by near, I don't mean that close, but we would be like, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
Teenage curiosity.
Yeah.
So we were.
I saw him.
Yeah. Like nothing. Yeah. Nothing. I would just obviously like give people their space now. Knowing that information, I'd be like, oh, yeah, just let people live. But she had chickens.
Okay.
And we used to just like have a field day throwing eggs at stuff in the woods because she had an endless amount of eggs.
Okay.
Yeah, would never do that now. Yeah. They're so expensive.
Yeah, I know, right?
Can't believe we were so
frivolous with your egg money.
Yeah. So we were also just playing like egg toss, like the good old fashioned throw an egg back and forth.
Yeah.
And we happened to be playing around by close enough to the encampment, and we were on the trail, so we weren't quite in the woods. But we were close enough where we could see it. So we were playing around, literally just doing egg toss. And the egg is, we're going back and forth. I believe it's coming my way, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a silhouette of a person, of the man, standing maybe 10 feet away from us, 10, 15 feet away. Now, we were in the middle of the woods, so we did not hear this person coming up to us, which was
weird.
like very odd.
Yeah.
I yelled, "There's a guy." I think my friend caught him at the same time, but also she had a different like view of him. So like to me, he was just like suddenly in the middle of nowhere. But I believe he came out from like behind a tree or something from her perspective.
Yeah.
Because we were pretty far playing that egg toss. You know what I mean? We were
yeah.
like seeing how far away we could
Right.
get from one another.
As Hannah brags about her teenage egg tossing capabilities.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
We were like 900 feet away.
Yeah.
Queen of field day, we get it, Hannah.
Yeah. So we both immediately jump scare, right?
Yeah.
I am.
Did you drop the egg?
Yes, that's why.
That was literally what I was curious about.
Literally, I was like, like hands up in the air, like there's a guy. Run, we gotta go. So we both just start running towards her
Did you
house.
yell book it?
I probably did.
I feel like that's a kid thing.
Yeah,
Book it, yeah.
Yeah, I probably did. And then I happened to be borrowing her shoes.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, did she also have shoes?
She had shoes on.
And you had another set of her shoes on?
Another set of her shoes on. It was a thing we did as girls.
That sounds like a
Okay.
girl thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
You borrow your friend's clothes.
Sure.
Yeah.
She had cool clothes too, so.
Okay, we're not judging. It's just I've never shared shoes with anyone.
That I guess I'm realizing that's like not an like an experience that everyone has in life.
I'm gonna go with it's not a guy thing.
Yeah.
No, not
No.
generally. Maybe like a jacket or a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, shoes are personal and also very specific fits.
So that's to my next point. We were not the same size. I have very small feet.
Yeah.
Still do to this day, and I definitely did then. And not saying she had big feet, they just were not my size. They were too big on me.
Yeah.
And I was just wearing them because I was like, oh, these are easy to slip on and off. I didn't feel like tying my shoes. I think I was like a pretty strict Converse wearer,
Yep.
which like if you just don't feel like doing it that day,
I got it.
yeah. So these were like a nice pair of easier shoes to slip on. Very easily slipped off as I started to run. They were off immediately. And I was like, oh no. And I went to go back and she goes, leave them. And we're running through the woods. We have to cross a little stream to get back up to her house. She also lives on her part of the neighborhood her neighborhood that touched this area was like way up a hill. So we're like trekking uphill, like booking it up a hill. And then we like get into her house and we're like, did he follow us? Oh my God. We're so scared. We looked at what we like surmised as probably someone who just lived in that encampment.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. He's
Some guy was like, what the heck was that? Why is there an egg? And who doesn't wear shoes the right size?
So he was a scruffy guy. He had on a baseball hat of some kind, but he was also wearing a like a full like mechanic suit.
Okay.
Like overalls.
Like
Coveralls.
coveralls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like what Mike Myers would wear.
Okay.
Yeah, that outfit.
Like a boiler suit.
Yeah. So and then
Coveralls.
Term? Yeah.
and his
coverall,
eyes were like covered. So he like also just
It was just a little scary.
scary.
Yeah.
He hit horror vibes.
Yeah.
I was like, ah. So her mom was not home, but her stepdad was home first or something like that. Or like he had just ran to the store and we were like, this just
And there
happened.
was an egg and I lost my shoes and
Like literally
I lost her shoes,
spilled
I'm
it
sorry.
to him. He was like, I'm going down there right now. And then he went down there and I guess like found the guy. He went down on the quad, like found him, talked to him. But like at some point it was time for me to leave because I never was there for him to come back.
Okay.
And then the story I got from him
Yeah.
was that, or what was told to her, I shouldn't say the story I got from her. This is,
Yeah.
she's a pretty trustworthy person. I think I ended up being like at school, like the next time I saw her, and she was like, Yeah, he said that he lives there with a couple other people. Blah blah blah. Like gave him like a long. He ended up talking with this guy like a bit because he went down there and was like, "What are you doing, scaring like two little girls?" And kind of what you said earlier. He was like, "They were near my house, and
I heard a noise, and then there were these girls throwing eggs, and they saw me and ran away."
Pretty much. And
do you want their shoes?
Yeah, he got our shoes back, or her shoes back, I should say, and then he did. I think the only thing he really like, he was like, he's like, you could have like said something. Sneaking up is a little weird, like whether or not you intended that to be the case. Like, it never comes across as
no
anything good about to happen, like whatever. And so he, at some point in the conversation, this is where the story takes like a weird turn.
Okay.
So
none of this was weird before Fish.
No, it gets weirder.
Hannah grades on a much steeper curve than I think either one of us
Well,
does.
you'll get why in a second. So he tells...
He's now a senator.
No,
He's now Hannah's friend's new stepdad.
No, he's... So he told my friend's old stepdad at the time, too. So he tells him that he was living out there with a friend and his friend had died. And so his friend was buried near the encampment. He had to bury his friend out there the last winter or something.
Did they find a body?
So this is where it all like
gets weird.
Comes up to current time. It doesn't actually. I don't want you guys to get excited because I'm able to.
They found a body and it was murder. Hannah's telling the story. It has to be murder.
No. So
I mean, it doesn't have to.
They found the body and it had one of the shoes.
No, so they
I have to be careful. I'm going to guess the answer. She's going to get mad at me.
No, nothing ever came of it from that. So a grown man living in the woods told another grown man who did not live in the woods
that his friend died and he buried him.
And that grown man who was like, part of the woes of society.
Yeah.
Did not do anything with that information.
Yeah, which is a little weird.
A little odd.
Yeah.
And also, like, why is he telling you about this? Like, that was weird. So Amanda's telling me this, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But also, we're teenagers, so we can't digest the information appropriately either. So we're like, that's pretty wild. Anyway, can't wait to go back there next weekend.
I bet you if we go, we could find a body.
So, like, we ignored it, continued playing there. She never told her mom, and neither did her stepdad, I guess. So, like, we did not, we just kept going back. Mind you, that's not the scariest interaction we had there.
Okay.
There was a completely... I just need to, like, breeze past this little
And again, it
tidbit.
only sounds scary from that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That wasn't...
Yeah.
The jump scare part.
It was just guy who heard sound in the woods next to his place.
Yeah.
Saw a couple of teenage girls running off.
Yeah, so...
Minus an egg.
There was a guy that lived on the remember how I explained like one part abutted power lines?
Yeah.
Well, on the other side of the power lines was another neighborhood. So we were riding a quad close to the power lines, not even on them.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who was just like, if there was whatever the Karen is of that, like people get out of here, you kids.
Oh yeah.
He stopped us. He stopped us holding like a bat or something. While we were on the quad. And was like, you guys aren't allowed to ride here. And my friend, I like give her all the credit to this day. I'm like, I still can't believe you were able to like attain the words. And like, she was like, please move. I need to get home. If you don't want us to ride here, move. Like just very like, like however assertive you could be as a teenage girl to a grown man with like a weapon. Like
right.
She was able to convey
I will
that.
leave, but you need to get out of the way.
Yes. That's literally what she said. And we kept trying to go around and he would run up to wherever we were trying to.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So he was not a good guy. I believe she told me he ended up getting like charged with assaulting like a dirt biker back there.
Oh, geez.
Like he was not.
He was not okay.
So that was actually terrifying. We were like, what is happening? So, and that we already knew that guy was a risk. Like she had a run in with him before. Anyways, we kept going back. We just kept going back.
Well,
We're like, whatever, it's fun back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just one guy with a bat. I think we could take him.
I'm like, what was it? Was it a bat or just like a large stick? A threatening thing was in his hand.
A weapon.
Yes.
Yes.
And
You got a machete and a shotgun.
yeah, machete and a shotgun. No, that would stand out. So yeah, that guy sucked. But anyway, we're like blown away by the fact that there's a dead body back there possibly, and just move on with our lives and forget about it. And now cut to a few months ago.
Okay.
My friend texted me. She said she's suddenly feeling like very like she needs to get this information to someone. Like she feels weird that nothing was ever done with that. Like there's potentially a body in the woods, and like
Yeah.
And at first I was like, well, I don't know, like it's it's that guy's business. I don't want to. And then I was like, well, wait, no, that's silly. Like, what if it's someone's loved one that they've been looking for and that they like just never knew what happened to them?
Yeah.
Not even thinking like something malicious could have happened to him.
Yeah.
And that's why he's back there. Just
Which is also possible.
Possible, but like just think natural causes of someone who hadn't been in contact with people for a long time.
Yep.
And they still don't know what happened to that
and then
person.
the person who buried him also doesn't have any contact with people besides one dude he told who never told anyone.
Yeah. So then
and maybe he was like, God, I hope he tells someone.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then so she's like, I think I want to like report it, like whatever. And I said, yeah, definitely go do that. And so she ends up reporting it. She knows someone someone who's a detective or used to be or whatever. So she gets him in touch with the right person for Plymouth PD.
Which I'm sure was one of those like, Plymouth Police Department, this line's being recorded or whatever.
I don't even
I'd like to
know.
report a dead body.
Or just like, listen, this is a long story. And I'm like, wait, what?
So she gets in touch with someone. They say that they're going to reach back out. She goes and brings them to the area and shows them where it is, shows them where the encampment was.
Yeah.
All that. And then they say they are likely going to try and bring cadaver dogs out. But they also, in order to do that, substantiate it, they have to talk to me and her stepdad. So I had to talk to a detective to corroborate Amanda's story. And
how many years ago was this?
It happened when we were 15 years old.
Wow.
And so I got a voicemail from Plymouth PD, the detective, and she was like, I'm just calling. You're not in trouble. Just calling to see, your friend Amanda had spoken with me. So I know it was this incident that happened a long time ago.
You're not in trouble, but we hear you know where there's a dead body.
she wouldn't lead on as to what it was. So then she was like, I was on the phone with her. She asked me, do you remember anything like that? And I said, yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Told her the exact same thing I just told you. They also talked to her stepdad. I don't want to I don't want to tell what Amanda told me about her stepdad. It's a little bit more recent, but his story or his remembrance of what happened was so different.
Yeah.
And the body being back there was not part of it.
Interesting.
So yeah. I'll kind of leave it at that. Yeah. He was like, what? I don't know. Who knows? But I was like, no, that was the most distinct part. That was
that's the part you can't forget.
Yes, exactly.
See, honestly, for you, it's like the formative story of your childhood. For him, it's just a day where he talked to a dude who said some stuff.
Yeah. So
he probably didn't believe him, just kind of
moved
let it
on.
go.
So they do end up going back there with cadaver dogs. You'll be happy to know that there were no signs of a cadaver about a football field away from us in the woods from where we are now. So all things are resolved.
So we can't do
There was nothing was found.
Stand by me.
No.
Walk across to go see a dead body.
No.
That's
But who knows why that guy
best.
said that?
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe he buried him nowhere near.
Yeah.
Because I actually talked to my dad. I said, why would a random person living in the woods tell a strange man who's confronting him about that? And he's
Later that night, he's like, why did I tell that guy that? I better move that body.
it's in one of the
that was really
400
dumb.
something ponds of Plymouth. now.
But my
Just so confused by the egg in the shoes.
my
I
dad,
was just, it was just so nice to talk to somebody again.
my dad said that he could have just been where he was being confronted with something, trying to gain some sort of sympathy.
Sure, yeah. Oh, my friend just died.
Like, my friend died back here. Just giving him his story.
Yeah.
Just a reason to kind of like
Not
go.
Yeah.
I'm not up to anything sketchy. I was just burying my friend's body.
I'll be honest. If somebody tells me they're just burying a body, I'm leaving.
No, mind you, he had done it well before
Yeah.
this happened. He was like last winter, so it would have been like over a year since like the incident or whatever of us running into him in the woods. So no, that didn't go anywhere. But man, was it crazy for me while it was all happening. All parts of the story, including the possibility of that like being a real thing. But like I said, it might not have been anywhere near there. So
yeah,
in my mind,
could be a body.
Yeah. So that was it. That's my random update.
This isn't even a Halloween episode.
No.
I know. I was like, this is like when it was happening. I was like, this is crazy. This is the craziest thing. Also, you should know that the way the detective's voicemail is set up. First off, the name of someone who's a cop that I went to high school with. So I was like, first, like not the detective who called me, and then several seconds of pause after. Sorry, I hit the microphone. Several seconds of pause after is the detective who calls me. Her name, but she says it with such an influx, it sounds like she's answering the phone. So I left about 2 voicemails.
Being like, hello?
Yes. Hello? Yes. I said, oh, sorry. I think I just called. Hello? Like, so stupid. Yeah. But anyway. So that's my story. Pretty good, huh?
That's pretty good.
That's not even what I wanted to talk to you about today. So we can go right into that.
That had everything we wanted. It had a potential for a dead body. It had egg toss. It had teenage girl shoe etiquette. It had a critique of the Plymouth Police Department voicemail system. I mean, like, what else do you guys want from this show? This is what we're here for.
Yeah.
This is all things Plymouth surrounding area in a nutshell. It's the most Hannah story I've ever heard.
You're welcome. Thought I should give you guys an update. Thought it would be fun to share.
That is a fun story.
It was utterly necessary. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But what are we talking about?
We're going to be talking about the pine tree shilling.
Okay.
Was that? I feel like that was on the.
Yes.
This is on the list, right?
This is what we called a little light treason, and you decided it was a pun from last episode.
Okay.
And I wish was a pun because I wasn't that clever.
So I obviously wanted to do it because it was like almost like a little. We gave a nod to it
like
from,
a segue,
from Fish's episode. So I was like, I should do that. So, do you guys know why they wanted to make their own? The colonies would want. I
don't remember what it was, to be honest with you.
It's the version of currency that the colonies made.
Okay.
To monetize just among North America. Wherever else in the Caribbean, they ended up using it too.
Okay.
But yeah, just for colonists or colonies use.
Is it just a matter of like supply? Like
kind of, yeah.
Because I'm like, if you're
that's one of them.
If you're using the English shilling, it has to come over.
Yes.
Which is a whole thing.
Yes. That's very good, Andy.
I'm smart.
So yeah, there was essentially a coin.
Why is everyone surprised when I'm smart?
There was essentially a coins shortage in England.
Yeah.
Do you know why there was a little bit of a coins shortage?
So this is what
1650-ish. It's not the reason, but there.
Wait, is this after the revolution? Or no, this is before.
It's well before.
It was before because the revolution was after the tree shelling. I'm just gonna go with a war with France because it's almost always a war with France.
I mean, there's like a lot going on, but one of the reasons why, not necessarily a shortage, but lack of, let's say, attentiveness to supply the colonists with that would be, there wasn't a king at this time. Very brief period.
Okay.
This is English Revolution.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was a bit going on over there, and they were like, "No, we don't care." So they were using like the English shillings here also, but they typically just used the bartering system,
right?
Because that's like what they could
it's what you
manage.
had, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Good job.
That's it. No, I'm joking.
All right.
So
Guess the part where it stops.
1652.
Oh.
Massachusetts Bay Colony, like the actual Mass General Court, Bay Colony decides it. The court administers the yes, you are going to do this.
Yep.
To a silversmith named John Hull and
Really
Robert.
just be made out of pine.
No, it's like little, just like
like
the
a
wood
wooden-
discs or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Just cut them up.
This
Yeah.
seems super easy to counterfeit.
And-
It's like, I got a tree in my backyard. Now I'm the richest man in town.
So Robert Sanderson and John Hull were silversmiths. So if they were sanctioned to just cut pieces of wood, that would have been very funny. They would have been like, "This doesn't seem like it's in our pipeline at all."
I mean,
fine.
times are hard. You gotta take the jobs and get them.
Yeah. Work is work, man.
So they became like the mint. It was Hull Mintery or
Yeah.
whatever. So they
How are they being paid?
they were like, "We're gonna make some of this for us," and
All right.
then all right.
One for the government, one for me. One for the government, one for me.
One for the government, two for me.
Yeah.
And that was
Now I'm the governor.
John Hull was named Mint Master on the 27th of May, 1652. Mint Master.
Mint master.
Yes, I knew you were going to.
I'll be honest. It just sounds like
I had to feed you the line again. I was like,
I was gonna do it, and I'm
Wait,
like,
Mint
do I?
Master.
Yeah.
If you didn't, I was going to say, I was just going to tease it. I was like me throwing out bait.
He was just gonna keep saying it. 17th time I heard being like, Mint Master, Mint Master, wiki. All right.
So none of this was with permission of England.
What was his name?
John Hull.
Mint Master John.
Yeah.
Mint Master J.
Yeah, Mint Master
we
J.
Spelled with a Z
With
somehow
DJ Sanderson.
on the mic.
Yeah, on the mic. So, no permission from England to do this. They just decided it was best because they needed like some sort of currency to help
Yeah, I mean,
society.
sure, makes
right?
sense.
yeah.
It came in denominations of 3 pence, 6 pence, and 1 shilling.
I was gonna say Mike Pence.
And then those, it just like pretty much was equivalent to whatever the English currency was too.
Yeah.
So, thus using the same names
Sure.
and everything.
Yeah.
They all shared the letters NE for New England.
Okay, that makes sense.
The tracks.
Yeah.
And they were the Roman numerals were imprinted on them with whatever the coordinating like amounts were. So if it was
So yeah.
Yeah.
right, 3 dashes for 3 pence.
I have a good story about that too.
About
That's-
Roman numerals?
Or about Roman numerals on coins. But
Oh.
we'll circle back.
Okay.
Because I don't want to derail it completely.
Okay. Pieces were made between 1652 and 1662, but they all were branded with the 1652 year.
Interesting.
Any guesses why?
Or
Or I should say most, not all, but almost all of them.
laziness?
No.
I'd
I
be
just
down
feel
with-
like I'd be like, come on.
Look,
I mean,
they paid us to make one die,
Yeah.
so we made one die for the coins. I'm not making new one every year because you're not paying me. The heck with it. Just keep making them. It's fine.
So, no.
the
they-
year was longer that year.
No. They branded them with that. I shouldn't say branded with, they struck it with that year because if England ever caught them and found out, they could say, no, wait, this is just all from that one year when there wasn't, you guys weren't giving us any money.
Right.
We
had to do it.
we had to do it.
Yeah.
That some a little bit more like stability in their reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
There wasn't a
Yeah,
king.
look,
there
it wasn't treason against the crown. You didn't have a king. We
Yeah.
weren't.
Yeah,
it
that
doesn't
makes a lot of
count.
sense. Yeah.
exactly. So
I thought you guys were done.
they had a willow tree first on it.
Yeah.
And then famously the pine tree,
Pine
which
tree.
is why it's called the pine tree shilling.
A much cooler tree than the willow.
Yes.
It's not very emo of you.
I like the willow.
The weeping willow.
I like the weeping
It's
willow
like the
the
emoest
most.
of the trees.
I love it. I used to call them sweepy trees.
Sleepy trees.
Sweepy.
Sweepy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like they were sweeping the floor.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, I thought you were just trying
Or
to
the
be a little
ground.
cute about it.
Yeah.
Oh, they're sweepy.
No, I didn't even think sleepy.
Yeah.
That makes sense
They look
too.
very dry. They look droopy.
They do. So between 1667 and 1682, it had the biggest like circulation in North America. Like that was the most that was around.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The most that was made and circulated between North America and the Caribbean. So that means Canada too. Like everywhere, anywhere the colonies.
So it wasn't
were.
so it was anywhere that they touched, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you'll notice 1667, 1682 is far past 1652. So we used this for a very long time.
Yeah.
It was a staple in like North American colonist
And this
currency.
is basically, it's not like a fiat system. This is fiat system, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a shilling's worth of silver in that coin.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The
Because I'm
pine.
like, why is everywhere accepting this? I'm like, oh, because it's the actual amount.
Yeah, because it's the right amount of silver in the right shape.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So the pine tree itself represented a lot. It was tall timber was the main export of the colonies at that time to England. Most of the things were exported to England.
I think they kind of had to.
Yeah. They needed to pay their way. That was one of it. We knew that going into it. But it was also used heavily for war times. We talked about England being at war with itself, France. So
Everybody.
Yeah. Mast for ships. What else could you use wood for? Literally everything. They needed to make everything out of wood. So one thing that was made from the pine tree shilling, it almost like became like a symbol. The pine tree was like a symbol of the colonies, and you still see it in some flags today.
Yeah.
So like Maine flag has a pine tree on it. I'm pretty sure.
Pine tree
Star,
I think, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a pine tree and the star, but pine trees everywhere. Still see them. Obviously, but we had
Especially around Christmas.
the pine tree flag, which was like one of the first flags used.
Okay, yeah, I feel better now.
In the
Maine
Revolution.
is the pine tree state.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, in the Revolution there was a pine tree flag?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, it was like one of the first symbols of like a colonist or colony, like
Militia or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was called the Appeal to Heaven flag. And it was just a big old pine tree in there. And it was flown by the Continental Army and George Washington also. Yep.
Yep.
They loved it. They loved the pine tree.
They all had them in their cars on their rear view mirrors. Sorry, horse and buggies.
So the mint was closed in 1682, and the charter was revoked for like 2 years or something, or 2 years later. The Massachusetts Bay Colony Charter was revoked. They did get in a little bit of trouble for it because it was treason, as we talked about. So they had to stop using that.
But did people still spend it? Because it's still a shilling's worth of silver.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like,
think
how do you stop that from being used?
the American Revolution happened.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
It was not really a clean break, but eventually we became like the United States.
And then we're like, this is the real money.
And then
Yeah,
we
and
created our
eventually they
currency.
switched over to the dollars, which are more
Yes.
Spanish-based.
I mean, you have to be able to like find a pine tree shilling, which is crazy expensive.
Yeah, they're
Says,
online.
As he looks at the research guy.
You definitely. I was going to actually ask to either I would pull up pictures, or if Fish wants to, that's fine. But that's pretty much the story of the pine tree shilling. There wasn't like a ton on it besides, like, I saw a lot of things
cool.
about, like, it is very cool.
It's very cool.
Besides, I saw neat little things from, like, museums had up, and it just gave the brief
The brief description.
that I just did.
Yeah.
Which was
Without the
fun.
dead body story?
Yep.
Yep. So, yeah. Just looking at it, see what it's up for on eBay.
Yeah.
Oh, can you find it?
No.
This page is missing.
So
Go on.
no, you go ahead because I'm wrapping up.
Okay, I poked around at the Appeal to Heaven flag with the pine tree flag.
Yeah.
It was the original state flag of Massachusetts.
See, there you go.
Ah, okay.
Nice.
And it was, until 1971, the official Massachusetts naval flag,
Wow.
which is when I found out that we had a Massachusetts naval flag.
What's our Navy?
That's what kind of
Duck
caught
boats?
me off guard. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, so they took the words "an appeal to heaven" off in
Yeah,
1971,
Yeah.
which means it said "an appeal to heaven" until 1971.
Yeah.
So
How
yeah, that
cool.
thing stayed almost exactly the same for 200 years.
How cool.
Crazy.
And now it is just a green pine tree.
Yep.
Massachusetts is only one of 3 states with its own maritime ensign. The other 2 are Maine, which was part of Massachusetts, and South Carolina.
Interesting.
I'm a little confused that we had a Massachusetts State Navy.
Fish is now going down a rabbit
Oh,
hole.
I'm rabbit holing.
Deep rabbit hole.
This might be an episode.
So a whole different rabbit hole that I was talking about Roman numerals on coins.
Yeah.
So I don't have the dates because I didn't research this, but I roughly know the story. There used to be like a V on the back for 5 cents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And there was a matching $5 coin that was gold.
Mm-hmm.
And the only difference is one said cents and one said dollars.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the coins over at some point, like the front of the coin, but the back was basically the same. But when they made the second variation of the nickel, they didn't put cents.
Yeah.
And this guy started gold plating them and passing them off as $5 coins.
Oh my God.
He only ever bought something for 5 cents.
Wow.
And he got away scot-free. Why?
Because he was paying exact change. It's not his fault that they gave him change back.
Close.
Oh?
He was a deaf mute. He had no way of explaining to them
Oh.
that they're giving back the wrong amount of change.
Oh.
And so now there's this one of those weird, like, you can't have your pigs for 3 days in Boston Common kind of lot where you
Yeah.
can't gold plate money.
Wow.
Yeah. And then right after that, they obviously changed and added the cents to the nickel, which I used to have one of those nickels that said cents after.
Wow.
That's cool.
And you can find that story. There's a whole like graphic novel series called The Big Book. And this one was in the Big Book of Little Criminals. And it's all these like really rando criminals that are like kind of incompetent or kind of genius. And yeah, it's great.
I love that.
Yeah, check it out. At your local bookshop. It's probably out of print because I had it like 20 years ago.
So this is the last little bit. Apparently there's something called the Pine Tree Shilling cookie.
I like cookies.
And it just looks like a pretty...
And you made them?
No, but I thought about it and I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Whatever, it's fine.
Sorry. Just didn't feel like it.
Whatever.
So
Time's it? It looks like it's dinner time. We could have cookies.
it looks like a
Where
pretty
else we can
basic...
have cookies for dinner?
So what they used to make was they would make a cookie dough,
Yeah.
like back when the Pine Tree Shilling existed, and stamp a shilling into it.
That's super sanitary.
Yes. So you'd have these cookies with like the shilling imprint on it.
Because money's notoriously
Yeah.
clean.
And then
Yep.
now they make it like the current day recipe is, which a lot of different cookies use this, but someone just like used their fork to like press.
Oh,
Press
yeah,
in
yeah,
the-
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if that's where it came, like where we started using forks or whatever to do it after like the shilling disappeared, or like what came first, the shilling
I
or the
bet you
fork?
it was the fork.
Right?
I feel
It's
like
gotta be.
It's an old time
Which
thing.
came first, the shilling or the fork, is a weird question to ask. Out of context is all
Fork,
I'm saying.
obviously.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
So there is a recipe online from a book called but Classic American Meals or something like that.
And hey, if you follow our social medias, Hannah will make you a
Yeah.
bunch of cookies and send them to you.
Yeah, no, I don't have that much
She's like, I'm not doing that.
But that's pretty much the Pine Tree Shilling. I always thought it was a fun little
That's cool.
looking coin, and
Yeah.
it tied back in with Fish's story last week, or not last week, whenever we last talked.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I mean, it went up 2 weeks ago.
Last episode.
Yeah.
Last episode. Yeah. So, thought I'd bring that up.
That was very cool. Thank you, Hannah.
All right. I think this is the part where we stop talking. And thanks for checking out the show today, listeners. If you enjoyed the content today, you can go over to patreon.com/Inebri-art to support the show. You can join over there for just a few dollars a month and help us provide this fun content that you just checked out. You can also email us at Inebri-art.com with your questions, complaints, and concerns, or you can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or at Inebri-art6 on Instagram. And also don't forget to check out our other shows, Bar Talk Podcast, Old Colony Cast, Inebri-art, and all the other shows on the Inebri-art Network, which you can find at Inebri-art.com. Thanks again for listening.